Welcome to Feedback Live from Comic-Con 2012, powered by Alienware. They are a computer manufacturer that's better than the computer in your home, so buy Alienware. We're here with Scott Aukerman. Our sponsor is either going to love us or absolutely hate the host of this show right now. Scott Aukerman is here, everyone.
Thank you.
Big round of applause.
I'm just trying to tell people about Alienware.
That's why he's here.
You're messing it up for me.
He's their corporate shill. He's here today because of that. You obviously host the podcast, Comedy Bang Bang. Obviously.
You can see it all over my face.
It's all over your face. But you have the IFC show now. As
TV
well.
show.
The TV show.
I decided to add one more sense for people. People traditionally have 5 senses, sometimes 6.
Yeah.
And that is important, actually, in our show. If you have the 6th sense to see ghosts, our studio is haunted. So there's plenty of ghosts like flying behind us at all times.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if you have that, then
your studio is the umami.
Yes.
Of television production.
The extra added taste.
The extra added taste of that. But the TV show I want to talk to you a little bit about, we do this podcast on G4TV.com, and then I also host some of the shows on the network. Mm-hmm. And although the content is the same, making a television show is way different than making a podcast.
It is. They point a camera at you.
Yeah. You have to wear makeup,
at least
not drink a bunch right beforehand. But how different is it for you? Because, again, it's very much the same content, but a much different environment.
It's different. I mean, the TV show is very different from the podcast. The podcast I do an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. It's really long form, kind of improv with people. Basically, if you haven't seen my show, it's me talking to celebrities, and I also have comedians on playing fake people. Mm-hmm. And then we have a talk show where we all talk to each other.
Which was an easy pitch, I'm sure, to a network.
Exactly.
So there's this this thing that we're trying to do.
Yeah, but the network was fans of the podcast, so they just kind of offered me the show. Mm-hmm. But on the podcast, it's very long. We get into these characters' lives in a very deep way. Mm-hmm. And on the TV show, we just have 22 and a half minutes, so we have to shorten everything. But so it's similar in the concept, but it's very different in execution.
Right. Which one is more satisfying for you? If you had Sophie's Choice it.
The TV show.
The one that pays me more, man.
Yeah, it pays me.
Period.
I don't know if you've ever done a podcast, but...
No, I'm not getting paid for this, so yes, I totally understand. So the TV show, though, is a little more...
No, I love... I mean, in purely a comedy exploration form, I like the long-form podcast of it. But the TV show is really fun. But they're sort of different, but sort of the same.
Right.
But the TV show is just like it's packed with guest stars. The show that's on tonight, we have Paul Rudd, Matt Besser, Colin Hanks, Jamie Denbo, James Adomian, Robert Wisdom from The Wire, Chris Parnell from SNL. It's like
so you have no connections. Those are terrible guests.
Yeah, I've never heard of any of them.
No.
Yeah, but and they're all in one 22-minute show, so it's I just try to pack it with as much stuff as I can.
It sounds like it's going to be amazing. Obviously, the fans love your show. We put the questions out a couple days ago. Here's who we're going to have on the show at G4TV on Twitter. You can use the hashtag FeedbackLive to ask questions to Scott. We had a bunch sent in earlier, and Moy from G4TV.com is controlling all of that stuff. So, Moy, open the floodgates. Scott here.
Here we go.
I have a letter from Elena on Twitter, and it's like an open, you can answer it.
A letter? She wrote a letter?
It's an open letter?
That's
it's kind of like she just addressed it like a letter.
Okay.
Dear Scott Aukerman, how did you and Reggie Watts end up teaming up? Y'all are the comedy team I never knew I needed.
Oh, wow. That's so nice of her. What was her name, Elena?
Do you want me to forward you her Twitter name so you can...
No, that's all right. Sure? Dear Elena, Reggie Watts is my co-host and band leader on the show. And I did not know that we were the comedy team that I needed either. I just kind of, when they asked me what I wanted to do for the music on the show, I immediately thought of Reggie because he's so incredibly talented. If you've never seen him, he is an amazing comedian who uses music loops.
Oh God!
To
his Borderline parody, Borderlands, is maybe one of my favorite songs of my lifetime.
Yeah, he's amazing. So. I just asked him if he wanted to do the show, but what I didn't know was that we would have a really cool comedic relationship, and that we're actually very similar types of comedians who love to riff on stuff and use wordplay. And so that's one of my favorite parts of the show is at the very top of the show, I check in with Reggie, and we just improv really strange things for a couple of minutes. So it's my favorite part.
That's awesome.
Just two serial killers working out all their stuff.
They feel
on
so
television.
right together.
Yeah.
Exactly. How did you know I was a serial killer?
You've got the look.
Oh,
You're
okay.
too well put together to be a normal human being.
Good, okay.
You carry your cell phone around in a plastic bag. You're clearly not used to having prints
That's
on
right.
anything.
Don't touch my cell phone, everyone.
Yeah, Scott came up and he had this cell phone case in a bag, and I'm like, dude, really concerned with germs this year?
You can never be too careful. I mean, it's Comic-Con.
That's very
I don't
true.
want some Wookiee touching my phone. Oh.
That's a terrible Wookiee impression.
I know. What was that?
Get back to the band. That's a Wookiee dying. That's a
That-
Wookiee in his death throes.
That was Frankenstein attacking a villager.
Moy, what else do we have from the fans?
I have a question. Is it true to get your show on IFC you made a voodoo doll?
A voodoo doll. Yeah, I mean, that's how most TV shows actually get on.
Well, that's what Blair did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Who did you make your voodoo doll of?
Well, Rob Juster, who's everybody's boss, I basically just took it's not even a voodoo doll. I took a My Little Pony and put just this giant mane of like curly, reddish, brown hair, and I stabbed the shit out of it in the eyes multiple times.
Wow, and then
here we are.
Here we are,
Back live
yeah.
from Comic-Con.
It's how television works. A lot of people go, "Do I need to know someone? Do I need to know someone famous?" No, just make a voodoo doll. But you have to know who to make it of.
Wait,
That's
very
the
true.
thing.
So what did yours look like?
Mine was of myself, which was classic rookie mistake, and so I just stabbed my own voodoo doll, and I was in the hospital for 17 years in a coma.
Wow.
Yeah, it's.
So you must be so confused right now.
I literally, when someone told me that someone named Obama Hussein was the president, I flipped out. I can't believe it. Take me back to 17 years ago.
Right.
That's what I'm
You're
saying.
like, I just wanted to see how Knots Landing was going to end.
Yeah, exactly.
And now Barack Obama's president? This is
And then
confusing to me.
everyone I ask, no one knows how Knots Landing ended. Because it's
we don't
almost
know
like
Knots
no one
Landing ever
cares.
ended. Yeah. What happened with Knots Landing?
Oh,
Does anybody
I
have
don't
any
know.
Knots Landing questions online?
Yeah, Knots Landing. I'll
Scott?
field them all.
No, I have another question. It's from Brandon. Wants to know, have there been any further developments between you and the band Fish?
Okay, the band Fish.
We need backstory on this.
All right, here's what happened. I do a podcast called Analyze Fish, where my friend Harris Whittles, who's a comedian and a writer for Parks and Rec, he loves the band Fish, which is weird, isn't it? I mean, that's
incredibly.
that's
incredibly
strange,
yes.
right? So we do a podcast where he plays me Fish songs, and I try to listen to them, and then I eviscerate them. Okay, and so we did several episodes, which culminated in an episode where I went to see the band Fish, and I recorded myself watching them while I took 2 forms of ecstasy, mushrooms, drank 3 different types of alcohol, and did not get high. And so you can listen to that at earwolf.com. You can listen to the whole story about me listening to Fish and whether I liked them at the end of a show or not.
Right. And have they removed themselves from their haze of music making to respond to this?
And this is what I do know. Sources close to the band, which is really
Some dude in Birkenstocks with a Twitter handle.
If you're a source close to Fish, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, you smell terrible, number one.
But sources close to the band have told me that they probably know about it.
That's a win.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
so
a Fish win.
If you're in Fish and watching this, what else are you doing? Right? We would love to have you on the show. We would love to, the next episode, for you to play live just for me while I sit there shaking my head.
I love
Are
that.
you going to eviscerate them afterward? After you?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell them what I think. I'll be honest.
You're really going to be honest?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that?
Okay. I want to go in a different direction. I want to be the podcast that brokered the peace treaty between Scott Aukerman and Fish.
Okay, yeah, that's
Can we
an
have
offshoot.
you both on?
Yeah, you could be Analyze Fish.
I like that. I like that. So, Scott, you're doing a bunch of different things, obviously. You talked about a few here, but if you could pick one thing that you're most excited about that the fans at home should be looking out for, either something you're currently doing or something that you've got in the works, what would that be?
Well, on Twitter now, I'm just, I started a hashtag. It's called Sound Off. And what I like to do is I like to just provide a safe, fun environment. I looked around the internet, and I found that there was nowhere where people could just sound off and let their voices be heard. And so I just wanted to provide a fun, safe place where you can just talk about the issues of the day. Just go to my Twitter and leave your comments in the section below. And just use that hashtag Sound Off, and it's fun, it's safe. You know, I only have one rule. We just don't bore me. I have one unofficial rule, which is also agree with what I say.
Okay.
And the weird part is I've never kicked anyone off for violating the official rule, but I have kicked people off for violating the unofficial rule.
What's your rule? So you can.
It is my rule, yeah. So I take it very seriously. But just, it's unlike anywhere on the internet. You can say whatever you want and just sound off. Use it. Start using it.
That sounds amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time, sir. I really appreciate it.
I really love ending an interview with a fake plug.
Yeah, I know. It's great. It's better than hashtag Feedback Live, which is something that we're trying to do right now.
No. Sound off. Sound off.
Way better than Feedback Live. All right. Well, big round of applause for Scott, everyone,
Thanks.
for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much,
Thank
my
you.
friend. You can sound off with our next guest, Cliff Blazinski, who's coming up in just a couple minutes. Hashtag Feedback Live at G4TV.com.
Sound
Scott
off.
is going to go and pick a fist fight with some dude who looks like he may be in the band Fish. We'll be right back.